Live, live, live. We going live. Are we live yet? Because this thing is saying, oh, okay, now we're live. Oh, that's fantastic. It said 14 seconds. I think you guys have been hearing me say live, live, live. But hey, you guys are watching the NXT Review Show right here on Unpopular Review. So much has happened. There was a tag match. We had a return from a former NXT superstar. Someone got jumped in the parking lot. And there's really, there's a thing that is said when you are in the parking lot, and that is to, can you say it for me? What do you do in the NXT parking lot?
Stay out of the NXT parking lot.
We are going to go live after this intro.
You're muted again.
Didn't I? Now I'm not muted. I don't know what is going on with my computer. I'm gonna have to figure this thing out. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But guys, you're watching Unpopular Review, the NXT Review Show. I'm one of your hosts, the Grand Poobah of Tuesday night, the bad guy Jack. The bad guy Jack. It should just be bad guy Jack. All over the place. And we got the wrestling doll, Delia Doc. Did I say it right?
Oh, yeah.
Delia Doc. How are you, madam? Why don't you tell the lovely people, how are you?
Well, I'm going to pull an EC and talk in third person, but Dahlia Dark here is doing excellent. Thank you for asking. And I love it. Happy because I'm going to bring on my inner child and nerd, but it is the 20th anniversary of this show. For people that don't remember this cartoon, My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Oh my God. It's funny. I was on Twitter.
I bought the t-shirt because I'm a nerd.
It's, granted, I just saw your shirt and you have a N64 shirt. Fantastic taste.
It's a hoodie from the store I used to work at. There was 2 left when I bought it. I bought a medium for my brother-in-law and I bought a men's extra large for myself because it is comfy.
I was going to say, do you have any, not necessarily, memories? Like, do you have a favorite N64 game?
It was the first console I ever played. And of course, I have memories of playing Mario Kart 64 with my brother-in-law.
Oh my God, that's so
I always played as Princess Peach because she was the only girl. And I always stuck with girl power as a kid, so.
It's funny now in Mario Kart, there's so many women because now you got Peach, Daisy, Toadette, Rosalina,
Isabella from Animal Crossing.
She's in no, I know, but she's in the later one, right? That's like the last. Yes, okay, no, because I had to really think about that for a minute. But that's fantastic seeing you in a Mario Kart, I'm sorry, N64 hoodie, and then you mentioned Teenage Robot, and I do remember that show. It wasn't like a show for me, per se, but I do remember, and I just saw, I was on Twitter, and they did mention that it. How many years has it been? It's not 20. It said 20 years fly by so fast. I have a birthday in 22 days, and I'm sitting there going, where did the time go, man? Like, geez, 20 years.
18 days, and today marks 20 years of The Miz's 20 years in the WWE.
Jesus, she's coming out with all the facts here, ladies and gentlemen. And The Miz, wow, talk about how many years?
20
years fly by so fast. I remember when he came in. I remember he was the host. I remember he had like this cheesy music and whatever back in the day. And now look at him. Comes out to I come to play. Came to play.
Yes.
It was one of them. It was Came or Come. I know it was something with play. And
Came to Play. Me and Mike did our top 5 wrestler intro songs, and that was number 5 on my list.
It's a fantastic theme. Even to this day, it's still fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, I love it. No, it's a great theme. We see you guys in the chat. We see George. George, we were just talking about you before we went on air. We were talking about how you always the first one, always number one. George, number one George. That's probably gonna be a nickname for now in this chat. Number one George. George sitting here and said we are the best duo of Unpopular Review. So shout out to George. Shout out to Jeffrey. He says, "What's up, Jaff?" I'm not Jack. I'm Jaff. I have a V in my name now. That's so badass. That's great. Like now that's my doppelganger, Jaff. And wrestling doll. Thea Hell looked defeated. She did. We're gonna talk about that. We got good evening from the my Big Daddy. Oh my god, I came off bad. The Diesel to my Bret Hart. I'm sorry, my tongue is all over the place. But let's talk about NXT. NXT opens up with so as I go through my notes here. All good, Jeffrey. We see you say my bad. All good. I know what you meant. You meant Jack, but it was a V. But it sounds badass. That's gonna be my doppelganger. He's from Earth. I don't know.
Hey,
Let's
maybe you can make that for your 2K23 or 2K22 and pair it with your part with your character and have them be a tag team.
No, I already have the vision for Jaff. Jaff is a fan of Bill Goldberg. He just celebrates everything.
Rival.
Yes, he'll be the anti version of me. He likes anything with Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg is a fan. You know, real quick, I told my mother, I said, I would love nothing more for her to be on air. I would love her to be a special guest. But I said, you like Bill Goldberg. You like Bill Goldberg matches. And that's when she proceeded to tell me, yeah, I do. And I said, do you want to watch a wrestling match with me? She said, just Bill Goldberg in it, which infuriated me. So that's why Mama Bad Guy's not here. We're going to continue with that. Matter of fact, my day went really bad, but I'll continue. Let's talk about NXT because I want to go too off the rails. Because you know what I learned today? You know, Sunday we did this great show. We reviewed the Great American Bash, and I revealed to you that I learned Cisco's real name is Mark, right?
Yes.
And then you said, "Oh, Bruno Mars' name is Peter," and it blew my mind. I was at work today, and someone revealed to me Jamie Foxx's real name is not Jamie Foxx. So now I think everyone's a liar, and I have trust issues at this moment. So yeah, if you was asking me why am I on edge right now, is because I don't trust anybody. I don't believe any of you guys that your name. I don't believe George's name is George. I think his name is Jim, and Jeffrey, I think his name is John. So I don't believe anybody. So forgive me if I don't believe you for thinking your names are real. All right, I'm on edge here, folks. But let's talk about NXT. NXT opens off talking about on edge, right? Stack shows up. He's driving in this big ass car. He's celebrating. He's happy right now because, you know, he just won the NXT Tag Team Championships with his boy. And he shows up, and Gallus immediately attacked him. And I laughed because I said, yo, this show just started. It's not even 2 minutes in, and somebody already is getting attacked in the parking lot. Just wrecked.
Gallus, what do you expect? They're sore losers from losing their precious titles that they had a meh title reign. At least to me still.
You know, I didn't mind Gallus as tag team champions, but I do understand too what everyone says is like, I get it, but I thought they were pretty dominant as champs. I don't know. I think
Joe Coffrey, who is their mouthpiece manager, but even with him, I still felt bored with them too.
And that's understandable. I thought they were pretty solid. You know what they remind me of? They were like, I don't know if someone said this in the chat or somebody just said this on Twitter or something like that, but they remind me of APA because they would just beat people up. There were no nonsense. They wasn't the most charismatic individuals, but they just beat people up. So I was for it, but understood. Yeah, absolutely right. They were sore losers. They lost on Sunday. They wasn't going to allow that. They beat the hell out of Stacks. Stacks gets his ass kicked. And we open up the show with JC Jane against Lyra Valkyria. And JC Jane, as the show is opening, she goes by the announce table and she takes I don't know if it was Vic or Booker's mic. As she should. And, you know, JC Jane, I became a huge fan of her tonight. There's a lot of things I'm going to get into it, but JC Jane, I think she deserves the best. I think she deserved the world. Give her all 6 Infinity Stones because I am for JC Jane. But she took Vic's mic, great stuff off the rip. She opens up and she says that she's going to finish this and no one's going to break up the fight between her and Valkyria. Valkyria comes out. JC Jane is like, nah, we're going to start this battle off. So when Valkyria, I'm sorry, mixing up, I fused them, forgive me. But Valkyria comes out and she's coming out. JC Jane attacks her, beats her up. I thought that was really some good stuff to show off the aggression and the that this was personal. So I did like that. Um, the match is going back and forth. You know, like Valkyria's getting some offense. JC Jane is getting her stuff in, and for the most part, she's I don't want to say dominant, but she is taking a good portion of the match. So Lyra had to build up from underneath. I like the part where Vic said, for whatever reason, Vic talked about JC Jane and said she slapped him, and I immediately said, I want the best for JC Jane. I want more for her. Give her the world. I don't know what else to give her, but give her the world because she slapped Vic. So I immediately knew that I am going to be a forever fan of JC Jane. She's a part of the Jack Pack community. George, no, not George. Jeffrey, um, put that in the chat. JC Jane, part of the Jack Pack community. Let's get that in there. Let's give her like 10 points, please. And you guys might ask, what these points do? That's currency in the Jack Pack community. So let's do that. But Valkyria gets the win, and she beats JC Jane with a body splash. What did you think about this match? I have some thoughts, but Wrestling Doll, please take the floor. What did you think about this match?
Well, as this being the only the only singles women's match of the night, let me correct myself. I thought it was good. It was also one of the only matches where the face actually won, because literally I felt like this was a night that besides the beginning and the end, the executive consultant would have been happy because every other heel won tonight. It was like one of the last shows I went to where there were 10 matches in the show, and only 2 of the matches the faces won, and every other match the heel won. I was like, everybody in the crowd was like, oh my God, when are the good guys actually going to win something again in this show? Like, my God. But match is good. It did what it needed to do. Lyra proved to Rhea basically that she's a badass and that what she said, she didn't have to take those words back ever. And now we're going to figure out what to do with Lyra and JC. George says Lyra could be next to challenge Tiffany for the belt.
You know,
Maybe.
I did want to touch.
I don't know.
I did want to touch on that actually because something I missed on Sunday. Shout out to you guys because you joined us on Sunday. We went on right after it went off the air, and it was a wild show. So we hope that you enjoyed it. But something I missed because she was interviewed and she said she was going to keep an eye out on the NXT Women's Championship match, that submission match between Tiffany. And I thought Tiffany was actually going to show up tonight. She didn't. I mean, she showed up, but I thought she was going to be there live. She was was it TikTok or something like that?
TikTok. She was doing a get ready with me while I talk about how I beat Thea Hill all by myself, even though technically I didn't because Andre chased through the towel for her to save her. That's what
we're going to talk. We're going to talk about Andre.
She's going to have a Tiffy Bration next week, and this is why I call her Carbon Copy Carmella.
But I do want to.
The 3 C's for diamonds. That's the 3 C's for Tiffany. Carbon Copy Carmella.
Jeez. You see, my partner is she just
I'm
calling
it like I see it.
If you was a pitcher, I think the Mets would need you because I mean that was a strike. Jeez. But I did want to talk a little bit. So okay, and I thought about this the last few days. So Valkyria, she talked about keeping an eye out on the women's championship. And it made me think that she might be the one to actually take the title off of Tiffany. Now, I don't see that happening right away. So there is a pay-per-view in September, correct? It's No Mercy, the NXT No Mercy. I forget the exact date, but I think it's September 30th. And if someone in the chat, okay. And I don't know if it's necessary that pay-per-view, but I see like Valkyria being the one. So this was my thought process, right? So I sat in and thought, okay, Tiffany's going to have a little bit of a run. I can see Valkyria taking the title off her, especially when you think about that match that she had with Rhea Ripley last week. And Rhea putting more of an edge on Valkyria. And you can even go back to there's a story between Valkyria and Tiffany because they had that match at, I forget the pay-per-view or the PLE, I apologize, but they had that match. Tiffany got the win. And you can even go with the story that Valkyria was like, I went into that match, but I didn't have a certain edge. Now she has an edge. She really beat the hell out of JC Jane towards the final sequence. And I sit here and go, like, she might be the one that I could see her being the one to take the title off her. And after that, I have thoughts after that on who she could lose it to after that, but I'm just going with I can see her being the one because I feel if I can remember correctly, I feel like George asked that on one of the PLEs when Tiffany won the title, and it was too soon to sit here and book because it was like she just won the title. I got to see how time goes on, and now it's to me coming off like Valkyria could be the one to take the title off her. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a possibility considering the history they've had for the tournament too, to see who would be the new NXT Women's Champion after the previous one prior got called up to the main roster where she won it at Battleground.
Oh, it's Battleground. Okay.
Yes, I double checked. And I can see it. I think she's the only other one that could be a good threat besides Roxanne right now because of the edge that she's gotten after kicking Blair Davenport's ass to the ground in that weaponized match over there. And now Roxanne's getting a little bit of a personality makeover in terms of not being so nice and is done apologizing to everybody, so to speak. But I think either one of them two could go after Tiffany for that belt.
You know, it's funny when you mention, and we're gonna get into the chats in a minute.
Jeffrey says he feels like it's too soon. Johnny Gargano was North American champion for 25 days and lost it after 25 days during his second reign. So it could happen to Tiffany.
It could. You know, and I kind of get what Jeffrey means by that. I guess. Thank you for bringing the edge to Roxanne. But yeah, you know that's really good. That because like I didn't mind Roxanne being the was it next door girl
Disney
girl next door. Yeah,
like very Disney right character. But I was like,
she do come off very Disney.
It's like it was good, but people are gonna get bored.
It's good to add layers. It doesn't, and it doesn't even mean that she needs to really separate from her character, but just showed a little bit of edge. Show some. I remember one time listening. It was a documentary with Mick Foley, and they were talking about that match he had with Shawn. I forget what match it was, but he talked about how Shawn, you know, he was the pretty boy, he was good in the ring, but him having that match with Mick Foley, it brought an edge out to him. It showed that he was tough and all that stuff. So I do sit here and say it's good to add layers to a character. You don't have to necessarily get away from like the stuff that brought Roxanne to the table. I wouldn't say get away from that, but I would also say, well, you need to add more to it. So yeah, I would just go with that. We got Charmaine. She wrote in the chat. She says, "What about Gigi?" I don't even know where is Gigi. I know she had that match. She still.
She was feuding with Kiana James, but they're not focusing too much on that story right now. So we're just gonna see what happens in the next few weeks. What happens with Gigi? If they make her be the next person to fight Tiffany for that belt, I could see it because that was the first match for the NXT Women's Championship during that 8-woman tournament. But for right now, she's too busy trying to beat the hidden rebel out of Kiana James so she can see that. That's because you get money and you get a job and you quote unquote grow up doesn't mean you really did.
There was something in the chat. I did want to hit on it real quick. What was it? It was something in the chat I wanted to hit. NXT, Roxanne, what about Gigi? That was too soon. It was something in the chat. I'm sorry. I don't. It probably slipped my mind. But I see Jeffrey though. I do want to hit on this. He says, "Give us that Stone Cold edge, but still being a face." But that's the thing. I don't want her to be Stone Cold because it's like she can't be Stone Cold. I want her to be Roxanne, but I want her to just. And I get what you're saying. You're pretty much just saying, you know, have layers. You want her to have an edge to her. But she can never.
Face is just having no edge whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because then everybody gets bored and they turn like Braun Breaker.
Right. So that's why you want to add a little edge. And sometimes you need your babyface to be a babyface. Not everyone can have that edge. Like, that's the thing. You want to have variety in wrestling, right? You want to have that variety. So, you know, oh, this person have an edge, this person have an edge, but not everyone's going to be able. And sometimes some people can't even pull that off. Do I think Roxanne, I got to see more of her.
With this new edge before we can decide.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Contender for that belt.
Yes, so for me, I just need to see more. We got new H-Man in the chat. He says, "Hi there, guys. I got my new house." Oh, he got a new house. This guy's a millionaire. He's got a whole new house.
Cheers to you. I'm drinking fruit punch.
Oh, that's fruit punch. I was gonna sit there and say I have nothing. Oh no, actually, I'll chug to you, man. I have me some. It's some green. So we're just gonna do that. We don't need crickets when you walk out. I don't know what Jeffrey's talking about. But let's talk about this. Mello and Trick. I like this segment. So Mello and Trick, they're sitting down, they're talking, they're cooling it, they're talking about Sunday. And Trick tells him eventually, as the conversation goes, Trick says, like, hey man, you champ, you killing and stuff like that, but he still want to get his revenge on Dragunov because he didn't forget about last week. He got laid out last week, so I mean that's just he's not cool with that. And as Mel was talking to him, he says, you champ, you're doing your thing, but I ain't nobody's sidekick. To which Mello was like, yo, I never said that. I said, I know you didn't say that, but they think that. And now he's gonna run solo, and he said, this is not no breakup, but I'm just gonna do my own thing. I like this because I think Trick is a star. I think I was saying early in the year that he could be a breakout this year, and I still think he can be a breakout. So I don't know where this goes. I know he's gonna have this match with Dragunov. I don't know if it's set up for next week, but him going on his own just to show that he can stand on his own, I'm for it. What do you think about this wrestling? No, and also too, chat, please chime in.
I'm happy that it's not like a whole he hit him and is turning on him because he felt jealous that the spotlight wasn't on him as being a solo star. It's I'm just going to do me for a minute. I'm going to work on myself and become a star by myself since the people just see me as literally the Trick next to Mello.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like he's going to try to build his way up, maybe try to go for like a mid-card title, since going for this title right here that his boy is holding will be a little too soon for him, only because he's had a few matches here and there. But I think he could definitely work his way up, possibly go after Dominic at one point for that NXT North American Championship, if he still has it by the time that he's ready for it.
Not for nothing. I thought Wesley would be the one to take the title off him, and that was silly on my end because it's like, you're right, Dom just.
No, it's not silly. Based on what we've been seeing, it's very valid. The only one who would think that it is silly and absolutely ridiculous is not here in this room, because if he ever watches NXT because he has to, he feels like he has to go to therapy, and his name is the executive consultant. We will go left and right to everybody. He would shout it off on the rooftop if he could, saying that Dominic Mysterio is the greatest North American champion of all time.
I've seen the chat. That's why I had to mute the chat because just to protect my sanity because it's rarely there. Because I already
can't be said to the allegations was a better North American champion than he was.
I don't know how to follow up.
So then don't. We just talk about the next thing.
Okay.
You know me. What I want to say about the consultant. I will say to his face or on this camera with him seeing it, and I don't care.
I enjoyed on Sunday how we were just roasting the hell out of him. Like, he sucks.
Oh, God, he said stupid stuff.
He's awful. Like, you should have saw him like last Thursday. Like, I know I said it multiple times on Sunday because I was on a whole nother state. I had like 6 cups of wine, so I was wild. But I fired him on Thursday. And what else? Every time he kept trying to talk, me and this other new guy, his name is Dan, on the Impact Review Show, we were just wrecking him apart. Like, this guy was collecting so many L's. Like, we call him the L collector, the executive L collector. That's his new name. But speaking of Impact, we actually have a commercial. We don't usually do a lot of commercials because we either don't have them or my mouse is a jerk. So we're gonna play a commercial, and we'll be back after these commercials.
The biggest win of Trinity's career at this point.
You mean of Impact Wrestling?
I'm sorry?
You mean of Impact Wrestling?
I mean, I'm talking in total. That could have been her biggest win because I think that is, I'll tell you this, I think that is the best pro wrestler that Trinity has ever beaten was Deonna Purrazzo.
How long?
I'm sorry?
How long?
How long?
Have you been smoking crack? There's no way you're going to sit here Swinger is great, man. I turn on the TV to see Johnny Swinger.
Whoa. Time out. Hold the phone. Stop the press right now. I know you did not just go on a massive rant trying to put me out there like that, talking smoking crack.
All I know is there's a lot of smoking crack references here, and I don't know anything about this.
You're muted.
Okay, now, I don't know why this computer takes so long. I'm going to figure this out. But that was us on Thursday. I promise none of us smoke crack. I promise that. I know that for a fact because there's.
But he wasn't talking about you.
I know. I don't know Dan personally, right? But from the looks of things, I don't believe the man smoked crack. So when he made that judgment call, and then.
I felt like he might have, based on what he said about that being Trinity's greatest win in her career overall. She's had good wins. Besides,
she did have good ones.
SmackDown Women's Champion.
It's interesting, right? Because like I understood what he meant, and I didn't necessarily agree with him. And the executive consultant is going to be someone who's going to say certain things that I'm just not prepared for. Because here I am trying to be the most professional podcaster there is, right? And I know I failed you guys, but then he says something like that. I'm like, oh, this is that kind of show. And I had to point out, like, I know nothing of this stuff. So, yeah.
Isn't it always that kind of show when the executive consultant is on? Because he says ridiculous things.
He says what comes to his mind. Yes, absolutely.
Ridiculous.
It's awful. It's a wild show. But you gotta join us on Thursday. He won't be on this Thursday. Once again, he's fired. But I'll be on with Dan. I'll probably be on. There's another show that later that night, but we're gonna do plugs later in the night. We talked about Mello and Trick. There was an update with Stack. Stack want revenge, and later he makes a call.
Tony D makes the call. He says he wants revenge. He does most of the talking because Stax is getting iced out by the medic right there.
Getting his ass kicked.
I was thinking to who? The one that they sent away that was supposedly swimming with the fishes or got kidnapped by Legado the Fantasma when they were still together.
You was kind of, not for nothing. I was kind of thinking that too. This is that. What was he? 2 dimes, right?
Yeah.
I was sort of thinking that. I don't know what his contract situation is, but I did kind of think that myself too.
The contract situation is, I think that guy's a free agent long by now.
Okay. But I did kind of think that myself too. I do want to throw that out there. We have an in-ring segment with Dom and Rhea. They talk about being Dom talking about being the NXT champion. He's bragging about his win from Sunday.
Cheating.
You didn't do it right. You got to do I'm cheating. You didn't even sneeze. You just said I'm cheating. You just threw it out there.
It's not cheating. It's a cough thing. That's what that's supposed to be. I cheated.
I'm cheating. I'm not gonna lie. That was great.
Who says they do so? If I wanted to be sold, I would have been like, by cheating.
That's good. You just wanted to let it be known how you feel.
I wanted the whole world to know how I feel.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I just got a call from Antarctica, and they said, "Yeah, we see how Russell Dog feels." And Antarctica, that's a cold place. Sucks too. Cause I don't like the cold. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a big fan of the cold. I gotta be somewhere warm, like the sun.
I'd say come down here to Florida, but you don't want to come, so. Or you could go to Arizona.
No. I just don't want to be in the NXT parking lot. And I just need to know.
Listen, we will take you to NXT.
I don't trust Chris. I trust you. I trust you. But EC, Mike Knox, they've been haters of me for as long as I've known, especially Mike Knox because he lacks hair. So I immediately knew that the Ball Syndicate was going to attack me off rip. So I don't trust Mike Knox. But then you talk about the executive consultant. He hates me because of my youth. And that's it. I mean, listen, let's be real. Before the executive consultant goes on air, he rubs Bengay on his knee just so he can do this podcast. I don't trust the old and the bald. I'm sorry. I love these guys. These guys are tremendous. But I know that they are hating, and I know they're going to see this replay, and they're going to. I'm probably going to be fired after this. So if you guys don't see me anymore, it was a great run. It was fantastic. If I am fired after this, it was a great run. You can find me on Threads and MySpace. I'm going to remake my MySpace. That's where you can find me.
But nobody has used MySpace for like 13 years.
Tom is still using MySpace. I believe Tom is still there. Tom is the last survivor of MySpace.
I don't remember that.
We got a bad guy. Don't trust Chris Harris. He might have you jumped. Absolutely, because of my youth. You know, like I believe I've heard him even admit to being jealous of me because of my youth, because I'm much younger than him. What about Dice? Well, when you're the last letter of the alphabet, Z, you have nothing to worry about, because who used the word Z? Like, wrestling doll, right? You're a smart girl. I can tell you're very smart. How often do you use the letter Z?
As often as I need to. Not all the time.
I've never used Z at all. You know the last time I used Z? When I made the Hardy Boys in one of my 2K games. Because I add the Z, because that's what they do. The Hardy Boys. The Dudley's Boys. George says, "Where's MySpace?" George, I know you're my age bracket. Don't do that. Do not.
George, don't lie. You know what MySpace is.
George invented MySpace. What Tom? They have that same picture with it like this. You know how Tom is always like, this was back. I never forgot when I first started MySpace and I saw this guy's back. I immediately said, I should probably not be here because I think I'm on the wrong site. But we're talking about. You never used it? No, MySpace was you know what I used to love about MySpace, and I'll end it real quick here. If any of my friends made me mad, like you had a top 8, I would remove them
out of your top 8.
Yeah, I did. I always did that with like one of my uncles, because I wanted to teach him a lesson that showed dominance. That's what I do. I'm all about dominance. Say it with me, George. They got dominated. But we talked about Dom and Rhea. They're bragging about Sunday. You know, the crowd is just shitting on Dom. Anytime Dom talks, you know, they boo him. Rhea, they know they love Rhea. And Rhea's doing a fantastic job on showcasing Dom, sitting there saying stuff like, you know, he's your, what did she call him? Daddy Dom. I'm sorry, Daddy Dom. And so this is your North American champion. But then we get Dragon Lee, who comes out, and when Dragon Lee comes out, it's funny because Rhea goes, "Hey, it's Rey Mysterio Jr." I chuckled at that.
I was like, "Yeah, that's real original, real good job."
No, she did a fantastic. Juventud is proud, but then Dragon Lee though, I like he was simplistic with it. But he said, "I don't like you." I don't know why.
And with the accent, it makes it funnier. So
that's probably what made me laugh, because it was the accent. I thought that was great. But Dragon Lee is not a fan of Rhea.
You're calling yourself the greatest luchador of all time? Please, the greatest luchador of all time is tu padre, your dad, Rey Mysterio Jr. And Dominic's like, I need the Mysterio name relevant. Your dad has made that name relevant for the last 20 plus years of his career. We don't know what you're talking about, Dominic. Nobody knew who you were up until 2005 for that ladder match for your custody. And then much later during the pandemic era. Between that time, nobody remembered you. Everybody remembered your daddy and your other daddy.
Well, I remember Rey Mysterio back in the day because he used to get dominated by Juventud Guerrera. I just want to throw that out there. But you know, Dragon Lee said some good things, but then he lost me when he said greatest luchador of all time, Rey Mysterio. And I got why he said it. You know, he got the Dark Knight Forever mask, and he's trying to represent Rey Mysterio. But we all know it's Juventud Guerrera. Let's get that Juventud Guerrera chat going. We got JL. I'm sorry, I just wanted to highlight JL because you know he's the big Braun Breaker fan. And he said, "Man, I cannot lie. This is the best NXT for a while. Braun had the best video package this year." And he flat out said this year,
Braun wasn't on TV to fight somebody.
It's just, I can't, you know, JL, he's my Canadian brother because I learned recently I'm Canadian. So I appreciate him saying these things because he's talking nonsense. I don't know what is in the Canadian air up there. It's been a while since I've been in
Free
Canada.
healthcare.
Yeah, ooh. There we go. But he's saying some wild stuff because the greatest video package of this year. That's wild. Rey Mysterio didn't get dominated by Hoovy. Give it up. I will not give it up. George, that's very rude. But he's going to be having a match next week.
Because he
One
challenged
Dragon.
Dominic. And then Rhea's like, wherever my Latino heat goes, I go. And Dragon Lee's like, who says I'm coming in here by myself? I'm not stupid. If I come by myself, you're going to interfere and make sure that Dominic wins. But we get a little surprise from the one and only Rey Mysterio Jr. saying, I'm coming to be in Dragon Lee's corner because he actually has respect for the luchador side of wrestling. So next week, it'll be Dominic with Rhea versus Dragon Lee with Rey Mysterio for the North American Championship.
Look, I want to give Rey Mysterio his flowers too. I think Rey Mysterio has proven that he is quite the gem, right? He has shown that he's in his late 40s, approaching his 50s, and still can go. But I just wish he mind his business. Why are you here?
It's business.
I didn't know Dragon Lee's his son. I thought Wesley and Dragon Lee were brothers. I'm baffled by this.
About Dominic, and second of all, Ray's 48.
Fantastic too, in great shape. A lot better shape than a lot of people younger than him. I want to throw that out there. But I do want to throw out here, he should mind his business. Look, he went to SmackDown to get away from his son after being embarrassed, dominated, and now he wants to show up on NXT. For what? No, this have nothing to do with you. And then
need we remind the audience that they fought at WrestleMania and Dominic lost very badly, especially to the point where he got spanked on the belt Latino style by his father.
Embarrassing. I think that's just bad fathering. I wish that. Look, I'm gonna write a book out about fathering.
Some people call that corporate punishment. Latin people call that discipline and making sure your kids behave.
You know what's funny?
That never happened to me because I was not that bad where I needed that, but some kids got that.
Oh yeah. You know it's fun. Did you see this clip? It was it was on like social media, but Sean tried to shake Dominic's hand, and him and Rio just brushed him off. And Sean says,
"You were talking about was Dominic in an interview? An 11-year-old called and asked, "How does it feel to be Rhea Ripley's bitch?"
Let me tell you something. Like you said that kid was.
That kid did.
No. Let me tell you something. You said that kid was 11, right?
Yes.
I can't begin to tell you how much Mama Badguy would have dominated me if I've even thought to say those words. Hey, how do you feel? And out loud at that, when I heard that kid say that, I said, and that kid lived, my mother would have killed me, revived me, just to kill me again. And then proceed to just leave me in the middle of the streets of the Bronx because that's punishment enough. Because who wants to be left in the Bronx? That's punishment. So that kid getting away with saying that is
different.
Jeffrey got it. He says your daddy should have whooped you, and mind you, he did at WrestleMania. I'm glad that you mentioned that. We got JL. He says
a house show too,
and a house show too. We got JL. He says Ray needs to get humbled, thinking he can stick his nose in other people. Thank you, JL. See, JL, he gets it. My Canadian brother raised the Canadian flag. We're about to reform the Heart Foundation, JL. We need 3 more members. That's what's going to happen right now. The Canadian Stampede is coming through. Matter of fact,
I mean, you two are Bret and Owen Hart.
No, he can't. He's the British Bulldog. I'm Bret. He's British Bulldog. He seemed very muscular, so it seemed like he could hit the what was that? The power slam. I haven't figured out the other roles yet, but we need 3 more members. But he is the British Bulldog. We're gonna call you the British J. British J. That's his new name because he's the British Bulldog. I'm Bret though. I call it. I have the hair, the glasses, the wrestler. Thank you. We have Wesley and Mello. They have a segment together. Wesley is very upset. He is upset about. It's not even just Sunday, right? He's just been saying lately he has been. He's just been losing a lot, and it's just frustrating. And Mello's trying to calm him down to the point where Wes is not listening to him, and he even says, Mello, he says to Wes, he says, um, I can see why Braun broke. Like, I don't need all this. He's just, cause this is stuff, because he's still reeling from Sunday's battle with Dragunov. Because him and Dragunov's very physical in the ring, right? So he's still feeling it. Matter of fact, I was just he is stiff. He whoops dude whoops ass. Matter of fact, I was just telling my little brother I'm gonna hang out with my little brother over the weekend. I said, dude, you got to watch this match with me and all this stuff because I thought it was a good match. But me, you, EC, Mike Knox, and Z, we had a watch party, and even though we were watching, I wasn't watching as much because we were all talking. It was a fun time. We had a fun watch along. But he's still Melo's still sore from the match, and he's like, I just don't really need this. That's when Noam Dar and Oro shows. And I love it, man. I love Noam.
You love the delusion that the delusionary that Noam Dar is living in, holding that fake Heritage Cup.
It's not fake.
Yes,
no
it
one,
is.
No,
yes,
no,
it
it's
is.
not.
It's fake because Nathan Frazier has the real one.
Nathan haven't been real since 2 weeks ago. I don't know what you're talking about, wrestling. Listen, I know what real is. Shout out to, and you say that, right? But shout out to his friend because Noam Dar was in this. He was comatose, right? He was comatose and all that stuff, and they found a way to revive him. Now he's walking around, he's smiling.
By giving him a fake trophy.
Wow.
It's not the real Heritage Cup. Nathan Frazier has the real Heritage Cup because he won it fair and square. Noam Dar would have lost it fair and square had he not called out and been a chicken.
I don't believe that. I believe Noam Dar was hurt. He would have took out Frazier of the Nathans and taught him a lesson. I think right now,
but he didn't.
Yeah, we're gonna get that match eventually, and when Noam Dar wins, I will be. No, he's not facing Frazier, is he?
Yes, he is.
And you know what's gonna happen? Let me tell you what's gonna happen. When he wins, I'm gonna be right here. I'm gonna sit here. I might even have me a cup of wine and sit here and say, "I did it. I called it. This is not wine. This is like some kind of juice. It's really good."
He said it was a green juice, so.
Thank you. I'm glad someone was listening to me because I feel like I don't even listen to myself. But we also have another segment. Let's get into this other segment real quick before we get into the next match with Eddie Thorpe against Dijak, Baron Corbin. There's a we have Andre Chase. They're being interviewed. Thea's upset because she never tapped. She had that match on Sunday, that submission match on Sunday with Tiffany, and she's just upset because she didn't tap. Andre throws in the towel on Sunday, and when she's being interviewed, she's like, I didn't tap. She's just upset, and Andre tried to explain like, but I wanted to save you. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to protect you. To which Thea said, but I didn't tap. She's just so upset. She's a young girl, 19 years old, just angry. Not even just angry. She's angry because she had this opportunity and she felt like it was ripped from her. It wasn't her choice. So she's upset. We're going to get into the chats in a minute because see JL. He said the metaphor. I'm assuming he says the metaphor because I've always been bad with greater than and less than, but it sounds like he's saying metaphor is greater than undisputed.
He's saying that they're greater than the undisputed era, which I find a little debatable.
Hold on, give me a minute. I'm going to take a minute of this show right here. Listen, my Canadian.
The metaphor to the undisputed era, considering the fact that the metaphor is a mixed faction, and the undisputed era was an all-male faction, so you can't necessarily compare the two.
Listen, JL, I want to keep you in this revived Heart Foundation. I did see your suggestion, Jeffrey. George, you will be Jim Neidhart. You will be the Jim Neidhart to my Bret Hart. So, yes, we're going to get you a pink sweater. This is already looking good. My faction is growing big time right here. You see, the new Heart Foundation is growing. We need 2 more members right now. But I like this. George, you're part of the Heart Foundation. You're Jim Neidhart. You just need to grow a beard. And I need to hear your laugh right now. But we got JL because he's sitting there saying stuff like the undisputed era, right? Metaphor greater than, and I think it's a wild take. I think he just wants to get
a reaction.
He wants to come. Yes, and he's gonna get a reaction because that is wild.
Because he put a comment saying she probably thinks Roman runs all his titles matches clean. You'd have
I
to go
do.
back and watch the episodes that I'm on when discussing Roman Reigns or prediction shows. It is the opposite. I'm not going to yell about it because now is not the time. I will save that for another day. Not tonight.
I don't want. I don't want to yell because I have so much noise pollution. So I'm not gonna yell.
No,
But
but I
you
know what
guys
you're
got to.
gonna yell about later, so I know what's going to happen
Why do you think? You think I'm going to yell?
about something that happened in the show.
Oh, you already fucking know
Of course
what
I
I'm
knew.
about
When
to
I saw
yell.
what happened, I was
You
like, "Jack, my
are.
person went through the roof."
It sure is. We're gonna get through this because why did that happen?
Because they apparently needed some comic relief.
Oh man, let me tell you something. We're gonna get to it. I feel like the chat knows why I'm angry.
The chat knows why you angry, and Jeffrey and George are going back and forth at each other. George is saying for me to yell and let it out, and Jeffrey's saying don't get her started.
George is it's amazing seeing that because I feel like George is usually the one to hype it all up and stuff like that. But I'm look at
George
him
is using
saying,
my side. I don't want to let it all
George.
out. Now's not the
Well,
time to
George is
talk.
listen. No, you gotta listen. You gotta keep your eye out on George. You guys, because when I used to work with Shay, she would say, "Oh, George is so nice." I said, "Mm-hmm." And then here's George, just to let you know, hey Jack, play that clip with Finn getting dominated, and that's George saying that. And I'm like, oh, so now you want to be on my side? But I give my people what they want because he's the Jim Neidhart to my Brett. We got JL. He says, "Yikes." There's a lot of There's well, I say a lot, but Jeffrey says Jeffrey could be Jeffrey. You could be the Brian Pillman. That's what you could be. You know what? You're part of the Hart Foundation too. There we go. You're Brian Pillman. I think you're a little wild. I think you could be a madman. So we're gonna give you Brian Pillman. But yeah, we had this segment. I'm sorry, we went all over the place, but Andre, he's trying to console Thea.
Then
Corbin
Baron
comes in
Corbin
left.
and acting like, oh, it's my turn for an interview. Andre's like, no, this is our time. And then he starts going back and forth, and he gets in Thea's face, calls her a little girl, basically saying that she lost, she should go. And Andre's getting in his face, defending her, which he should, and is basically calling him out, saying, I will fight you right here, right now. We're going to have a match. Which is official.
Wish you knew that was going to be a match later in the night. We had Eddie Thorpe against Dijak. Let's just run through it real quick. I missed a good portion of it. I mean, it was a good back and forth match. I think it needed what it needed to do because these two have been having a beef for the last few weeks. Dijak gets the win, and you know what? I'm for Dijak getting the win. None against Eddie, but Dijak, I feel like you just can't have him going out there lose.
He's been there. Yeah. Today, all he had was losses. Which for that one, I wasn't too mad about Eddie losing either. I was fine with it. Yeah. Because everything else after that, the main event, that annoyed the hell out of me.
But so yeah, Eddie
all over again.
Eddie takes the L. Oh, let's get into
he can take an L and it doesn't affect him that badly.
Yeah, it doesn't bother him.
Go after Dijak.
Yeah, it's not, and plus this thing is not over between the two of them. It's not over. Eddie's gonna get a rematch.
It has to go back and forth as far as wins and losses.
Yeah, Eddie's gonna get his rematch. He's gonna be Dijak. He might even get a rematch
at Battleground.
Has Eddie? No Mercy.
Oh yeah, that's right, No Mercy. Why did I mix that up?
No, it's fine because you know what happened? You mentioned Battleground from earlier when I was trying to figure out what the pay-per-view. It's funny because, but Eddie, and I'm going to ask Eddie, I don't think he's been on no PLE, so that would be a great spot for him to be on a PLE, have a match with Dijak.
Nice match or a cage match or a last man standing match. One of those. Or a street fight.
It could be a street. I could see more of a street fight. That I could see. If they were going that route, especially with, I feel like Dijak's character is all about, it's all about justice, and not that he's the justice about the streets, right? But it's something about street fight that I could say that would work. A lot of people feel like when he had that match at it was God, I'm sorry, I'm blinking. Was it the Underground?
Raw
the NXT Underground match or whatever. a lot of people felt like he was a perfect fit for that. So a street fight might be beneficial for this feud if it goes that far. Because they could always save this for. It don't have to be a PLE event. They can always save that 2 weeks or a week before the PLE. Because even something I've noticed a little bit with WWE, even though NXT and WWE, the booking is totally different, right? But you have the United States champion being defended on SmackDown rather than SummerSlam, which is Saturday. So I'm just saying it don't have to be on the PLE. It could be a week or a week before or 2 weeks before the PLE is my point. We got Raw Underground. It was Eddie Thorpe is growing on me. He's not awful. I don't see it. I think he has talent. He has a unique look.
The character.
He's just you talking about Eddie. Eddie, he has a unique look. Like I don't know. I'm just not sold yet on him, and it's nothing on him. It's just I don't see it.
It'll
I
take
just don't
some time. Maybe you'll see it. Maybe you won't.
Right. So I just necessarily don't see it. But if he's growing on you, I mean, fantastic. Maybe there's something I'm missing.
He also follows me on Instagram, so that's always fun.
There you go. That's when he follows you on Instagram. So now you're like, yeah, this is Eddie. But you know, he has a certain thing, and that's why they keep putting him out there. So there's something there with him.
They see
I don't
something
see it.
in him.
Yes.
I wouldn't say he's a next so and so. I just see him as being Eddie Thorpe. So he's not
Right.
like a carbon copy of anybody, Tiffany.
No. he can grow into something. Like that's why like it's probably best from I'll sit here and say this. LA Knight was somebody I wasn't big on. I
Me.
got the look, the charisma. Same with you. Okay, you're the same. I didn't see it. I just didn't think his in ring wasn't hitting for me. But I see the appeal, and I think his in ring work is not awful. But I'm not going to sit here and mistaking him for like an Axiom or Wesley or anything, because those are the kind of styles I like. Go ahead.
Or Nathan Frazier, because you were
Or
comparing
Nathan
those
Frazier.
to like Fly High too.
I've always loved high flies, technical wrestling, and all that stuff. So those are always my faves. So he don't fit that
That
category.
category of wrestling.
Yes, thank you for me. But I also understand the hype because I mean I've even sat here and said, what are we doing? Why is he not in the United States thing? Championship match. But he'll get there. But my point is saying it took me a while to get to LA Knight to really see it with him. Okay, let's get into the segment real quick and then get into we had two other matches here. Well, three. Dana Brooke and Keilani Jackson. They had a segment. She's talking. Oh, Jordan. I said Jackson. Whoops.
Yeah.
Jordan. And
they were basically talking about the match, how Cora brought out an aggression from her, and that Dana liked it after being in the company for so long, going in all these directions of the career, all these negative comments that people put up on social media. She was happy that Cora brought that out of her and that she felt like she needed it. And so she feels like Keilani needs to do the same thing. Go pick a fight with somebody and get in the ring and wrestle them, which, Dana, that's not a good idea.
No, it's
She's
not.
still new in the locker room. She doesn't need to be picking fights for no reason. She's not Cora Jade. She's not Lila Vice. She's not Elektra Lopez. She's not Jakara Jackson or Lash Legend. She doesn't need to be picking random fights with these girls for no reason. Unless she's on level up with someone like that new girl, Carmen. I don't know how to pronounce her last name because it's like Russian or something. But she doesn't need to be going picking no fights with nobody. That's not the kind of person she seems to be.
This might...
Next bubblegum poppy kind of character style, like very sweet. Nothing wrong with that, but it just isn't fit her.
No, I get what you're saying. No, I totally get what you're saying. So it's interesting with this because I feel like there's so many different routes you can go here, right? You can have Dana bring out a certain side of
Keilani.
Jordan. I'm sorry. Right, Keilani. I'm sorry, no, because I wrote Jackson. I don't know why I was thinking that, but Jordan. And bring a side out of it.
Jackson and Jordan could be kind of similar, so.
Not for nothing, because my shoot last name is Jackson, and I've had someone say, "Hey, Jordan." I said, "Do I look bald to you?" Because Michael Jordan. We got JL. Has Dana Winder? I don't know. I don't even
not to
follow
my
him.
knowledge, Mister.
But There's so many different routes you can go here, and part of me is sitting here thinking this. I don't want to necessarily say I'm totally leaning on this, right? But you mentioned how Dana Brooke is talking to Cleani and saying, you could pick a fight out there and all that stuff. So it makes me wonder, does she try to set her up? She gets beat by somebody because she does call out a fight, and this person, whoever beats her, and then does Dana? Because to me, for the longest time, I felt like Dana Brooke should turn heel, and I feel like she should turn heel because the crowd is always against her. I feel like just feed into that, man. Like go into that. Because she even mentioned how the crowd or how people have been, and I think someone even wrote it in the chat, just talked about how much that people have been hating on her and
George
all
did.
these things. Oh, George said that, and I just think you should just dig into her being a heel. I think her having a heel run. I'm not saying that would work, but I just think like right now the whole stuff with her being a baby face is having.
To her in that sense, but if that were the case, then I would call Dana Brooke back to Raw and have her be in a heel tag team with Emma, and have them be like, "It's all about me, girls," kind of thing.
You could eventually have her come back. You could.
Confident. Listen. If it's a tag team with good chemistry that works, why not have them together instead of making random teams for no reason?
It's funny because I just saw George. He just wrote, "There's something that tells me that Dana Brooke might turn heel," and it's funny. I just broke down all that.
Heel, Wesley might turn heel. Hey, if Wesley turns heel, I would like to see where that goes for him.
I don't know how I would feel about that. We'll talk a little bit about that because I mean that's
kind of, but I'd be like very surprised when that when and if that.
But happens. I feel like more with Dana than Wes, and I say that because for the longest time she's been booed. I just think give the fans, go into it, and I also too think with her turning heel, right? And you mentioned, hey, maybe bring her back onto the main roster and team up with Emma, and maybe that would be great because I really want something. I want the
heel tag team.
And I want something, for Emma because I think Emma is so talented and they've just been wasting her. But I also sit here and say you can also do this test run down here in NXT and see because even when you think about Emma, right? She went to the main roster, didn't work. She went to NXT, and NXT that's when she found herself, and that's when she became Evil Emma, right? That was the name that they were calling her, Evil Emma. So, and I feel like when she went to the main roster, they didn't do a whole lot with it, but it was something. And I don't know, it just didn't work. Dana Brooke and Emma as a tag team. But you gotta remember too, George.
That's why I keep saying it. They were a tag team. That's why I keep saying it. Plus, they had good chemistry during the Royal Rumble this past year when they were working together for a bit.
Were they?
Yeah, they had a little bit of a moment where they worked together to try to get people out. It didn't last very long, but they did.
Yeah, you see, when you said that, because I was like, oh, that happened? Because I had no idea. We had Ulisa, Leon, and Valentine Ford. For Royce? Is it for Royce? Oh, thank you. Thank you for that correction.
Lopez and Lola Vice. I just have to say this.
Sure.
When Valentina and Ulisa's names popped up on the TV, the flags of where they're from showed up. Valentina's being Brazilian and Ulisa's being Mexico. When they had Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez come out, Lola Vice's flag shows up. She's Cuban, like me. Props to that. But why did they not show Elektra's? Even though she has the bands on her arms that show the Puerto Rican flag that she's Puerto Rican, not everybody's going to pay attention to that.
I didn't even notice that. Oh, so they didn't have her flag.
No. They did not. Which I found very odd.
Well, what did you, I mean, besides that, what did you think about this tag team match?
Was good. I enjoyed this match. I was wondering, why the hell is this even happening? They haven't really shown them interacting too much. But then they put up the thing that Lola and Elektra were watching, talking about how they're not that great, how they had a little brief moment. This is making us sick. They don't have the fire, yada, yada, yada. But the match was good. It did what it needed to do. It showed that Lola and Elektra are something that could be, that could work. This is what they were trying to do with Dana and Kaylani that they're doing with Elektra and Lola. This is why Elektra was left to stay and not go up with Legado del Fantasma, because they want to bring in somebody that she could help take under her wing, be a great tag team, and then see where it could go from there.
You know what I think? I think they kept her down there just because she still needed some work, which is fine because
yes,
I always use this as an example, right? to me is almost similar to when they called Enzo and Cass, because you remember Carmelo was a part of that
Yes.
package deal, right? But they kept Carmelo down there, which was, I think, one of the better things for her career because. And now you got Cass. I know Enzo is doing his thing on like the Indies and stuff, but
Yeah.
you got Big Cass. I feel like he's on both ROH and AEW. I can't really tell, but I feel like he's
Well,
more
ROH
AEW.
is basically part of AEW now. It's literally, like I said before, it's their NXT.
Right. And I'm just saying right now he's doing and in the best shape of his life and all that stuff. But I say all that to say is Mella is the only one still there in WWE. And and I don't know. I guess I sit here and say I don't know. I was like, did I ever see that as a thing? Like, oh, she'd be the last one there? No, I don't. I didn't think that. So I say all that to say is I feel like they kept Elektra down there just to continue to
Because
work
still
with her,
needed to work, which
and
I
then
enjoy
also too, and
because
also too.
I've
Sure,
seen
go
her
ahead.
wrestle before in person
Mhm,
with BFAB when Hit Row was still down there. And even
mhm,
though I thought BFAB needed a shit ton of work, she
mhm.
still do. She's not bad, but she still needs some work. Elektra
Sure.
needed some work, but she was a little better than BFAB, and she's gotten a lot better than compared to that when I saw her in person. And now teaming up with Lola Vice, this could be the start of something beautiful.
Yeah, and I don't know about a whole lot about Lola Vice. I mean, I'm pretty sure she had a bunch of or a few matches at least on NXT. I'm pretty sure she
She
had a lot of
did.
matches on.
They probably did like maybe one or
Mhm.
two during Level Up. That I don't know, but I do know
Sure.
when they did have house shows traveling throughout Central Florida, that
Mhm.
she was used in there. So
Oh, okay. All right. But I do like. I'll sit here and say this. I do like that the heels got the win over the babyface, because right now the babyface they're getting a lot more screen time and stuff like that, which is great. But I also think what you do is establish that this team is a force to be reckoned with. So I was for that. I didn't see that as a thing happening. I honestly saw the babyfaces going over, and to see that the
yeah,
heels,
especially given the win they had over the Meta
yeah,
4.
yes, absolutely, that too. Just Sunday they won, so I said, oh, they're going to keep the momentum
I
going.
guess the creative team in NXT behind the scenes were, the Metaphor lost, but we're trying to make them into a dominant faction. Let's get them a win tonight to make them actually seem like they have a chance at beating people whenever they're there.
We got George in the chat. He says, can't wait to see the Caveat twins on NXT and see what they can do. And we got also Jeffrey. He says, about time Elektra and Lola won a match. So I'm pretty sure Jeffrey was very happy to see that they got the W.
Well,
Let's
he
talk
said
about this.
none of the Latinas and Italian women. None of them are Italian.
None of
Valentina's
them are.
Brazilian. Yulisa is Mexican.
Mhm.
Lola is Cuban. And Electra's Puerto Rican. No Italians
Yeah,
there.
yeah, Jeffrey. I just wanted to say, yeah, Jeffrey. Don't attack me. We have Wesley and Camelo Hayes. They're having a tag team match player, and they're going against Noam Dar and Oro Mensur. I'm glad that Oro's getting a lot of screen.
It's my mellow look.
Oh, give me a
I don't
break.
wear these shades for Dijak. I wear them for mellow.
I'm wearing these
Mello's
glasses.
growing on me more and more and more the more I watch him.
Once the co-host put the glasses on, I had to put my glasses on, and I can't see nothing. But we have
Well,
this match.
neither can I, so I'm going to try and look stupid and put these on over it so I can at least see what people are saying.
Two glasses. Where's my other glasses?
Well, mine are somewhat hidden, so now I'm good. So now I
I
can
was
see.
gonna wear these glasses, but they're like literally part of my cosplay. It would have just been red, and that would have been very frustrating. But we got George. He says Wesley versus Camelo Hayes for the NXT Championship. I sit here and say, sign me up. I
Sign
think
me
these two would
too.
have sign me up. I think these two would have great chemistry in the match. But let's talk about this tag team match before we jump into that.
They had really good chemistry as a tag team.
I agree. No, I agree. I it was something about
If
them when they
Trick and
teamed up.
Mello were never put together in NXT, and if Wesley wasn't working with that person who's now in Impact, I probably would have put these two together as a tag team. Hell, I'll probably do it on my
Yes.
Tuesday once I buy a console for it.
You know, I gotta download my 2K into my PS5 so that I can start supplying you guys with content. Because I know what you guys want. You guys want to see me against Bill Goldberg, and I'm gonna supply that to you before the year's up. I promise you
Against
guys
Tom
that.
Toretto.
And oh my God. Matter of fact, that might be the commercial. We might get that to be a thing. Matter of fact, that may be my first thing. I just beat up Dom Toretto. There we go. And then I go on to as I take out the ball syndicate, I go after one Bill Goldberg. We got Warman. He says this as he's in the chat. What is going on, Warman? We says hello, Jeffrey. He put the glasses on with us. I know he got some fancy shades. I've been seeing him on Twitter and Instagram. This guy's
I'm wearing some Versace's that I bought when I used to work at a sunglasses store.
fantastic. I just found these in a dresser and I just put them on. I'm sorry, I'm not good with fashion at
No,
all.
it's okay.
Thank you. You know,
Sorry for cutting you off, but the match was
no,
great.
match
I
was
am
good.
a fan of 3 of the 4 men in there, and I think everybody can guess which one I am not a fan of.
Is it Noam Dar?
Annoys the crap out of me.
Is it
Guy
Noam Dar?
in real life annoy the crap out of me. Yes. So I can't stand his character in the ring, which means he's doing his job as a heel. Oro Mensah, I've always been a fan of since his debut. Like I said, I was there when he debuted. I was like, who is this guy? He comes on the party music. People got to see he's good. Now they're seeing that he's great.
I do want to throw in real quick. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do want to throw out that I'm glad that he's getting a lot more screen time. I saw someone on Twitter. Someone said, "Who is this guy?" Because they were, I guess, blown away on his in-ring ability. And it's amazing because people are sitting there saying, "Oh, you got to put respect on this guy's name," and I totally agree. I mean, I thought he had a fantastic showing on Sunday. One spot that I had to watch back a few times because it kind of slipped my mind just to show how slick and smooth he is. There's a spot where he kind of does like his leg over somebody, and then he does I think it was over Dragon Lee, and then he power bombs him. I mean, the guy is so much talent, and I'm glad that they put him on tonight.
He has a lot of talent, especially from that first ladder match that they had for the North American Championship that Wesley won. Because it was him, Nathan Frazier, Oro Mensah, Von Wagner, and Carmelo.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Halloween Havoc.
You know what? And I think you called that one too. You picked.
Yes, I did. I called Wesley winning.
You called it. No, shout out to you. You called it. We had predictions, and you called that one. That was a great job on your end.
I didn't. Harley Quinn.
And not for nothing too. I did not see that coming, and it was one of those things where, like, I was like, I'm okay with this though, because good for him. Good for him. But I mean, this match, it's fun stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of quickness going on. But just to get to the end, Lee tries to go for the cardiac kick, and he hits Mello by accident. Mello is knocked out, and I didn't see what took out Lee, but Noam Dar took out Lee, and he gets the W.
Well, he was distracted, and I believe Aura hit him, and then Noam gets the 1-2-3 victory for the metaphor, which I find ironic because after the match, Wesley gets in Carmelo's face and yells at him, asking, "Where were you at? Where were you? I didn't see you. You knocked him out. How is he supposed to see you if you knocked him out?" And the Melo's basically like, "I got no time for this. I'm getting my ass out of here right now."
He said, "I'm leaving."
And Wesley looked so angry. I was waiting for this moment for him to hit Carmelo and basically show that he's next in line to challenge him for that NXT championship, even though he's trying to go after that North American championship again.
I don't know if he's going for the North American Championship anymore. I do see him going, and I think George was mentioning it. I do see him going for that NXT Championship.
For the NXT title. He can go for the North American title. I am all for either one. So
I'm for it. That's my guy right there. I mean, whatever he does.
Since day one.
Hello, yeah, you did.
Solo champion. He is aggressive as hell, and I love every second of it.
And you know what? That's probably what it is. Like, I remember you mentioning earlier, and you said the possibility of him turning heel. I don't necessarily think it's him turning heel. It's him just being so frustrated, like just so frustrated with everything going on.
Take it Braun Breaker far and turn on the people. But the difference is the people aren't bored of Wesley. He gets a pop. Everybody was cheering.
So
For him.
people love, but now people are kind of really feeling Braun now. Just to throw it out there, but
Well,
people
yeah, they're
do.
interested in him again because it's actually interesting. He's not
I think
throwing out promos that seem kind of predictable. Like Braun is fine as a face, but he gets much better promos and delivers them better as a heel.
he is a certain. I feel like there's a comfortability. I don't know if it's comfortability, right? But it's something about him as a heel. It just seemed like it's just natural.
The
Like
thing is,
it just.
it's more and I've heard this from a lot of my wrestler friends. They like being a heel because it's easier to get people to hate you versus to get people to love you. Because when they love you, you have to be careful with what you say or they turn on you. But when you're a heel, you can say whatever you want. You can be an asshole. You can take things far. You can do whatever you want for the people to hate you. And if it works, it works. That's basically all it is. It's just easier for some people to bring that out.
When you had
frustrations from people turning on them being bored, it's even better. It works out even better.
Hey, when you had this conversation with EC?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
wanted to be sure.
I've met a bunch of people. I've made friends with a lot of these people whose pictures I have on my wall and such. So I get a chance to talk to them afterwards at the shows. And I've asked a bunch of them, like, do you like being a face or a heel? 99% of them have said heel because they can do whatever they want and say whatever they want to people and get people mad. You just have to be more careful when you're being a face in these shows because you have to be careful.
It's rough. It's rough unless you've already established, like Stone Cold was, and I know this is like big shoes to be talking about, but he was it was a face tweener heel. He was a tweener, but if you had to pick between two, he was a baby face, right? But because people could relate to him and people loved what he was doing, they would always go like, oh, they would cheer for him. Jeffrey pretty much said in the chat, he says, heels give you more freedom. And that's why for Roman, it feels more organic now.
Yeah,
and
Vince was pushing babyface Roman down everybody's throats for the last few
years.
When you back as a heel.
Yeah, when you force stuff like that, people can't get behind you. I just don't think so. I mean,
booing him, they chanted to Vince that Roman sucks.
And he did, and he really. And when you look at Roman, right, beside the character, his in-ring stuff never changed. He's still like the same thing.
I think as a face, it was the same shit.
Let's get into these last two. We got two more matches in the segment because I do want to voice out how angry I am. But we had Baron Corbin against Andre Chase. Baron Corbin gets the win here, as he should, because he had that match on Sunday. It was a no disqualification. Andre Chase could take the L. It's not going to hurt him.
Booing Gable Stevenson.
Yeah, we didn't touch on that, but wow. Right? Like, wow. They really booed this man.
Well, they had high expectations for him, and I guess he didn't deliver what they wanted. So
I don't think that audience really gave him a chance. I mean, they didn't give him a chance. So for them to like, I hear that and I'm like, well, they didn't even let him do anything. They immediately booed him, and it was almost like they booed him just to heckle him and boo him because it's like, you're not a part of our world, that kind of stuff. Because I don't think he was
Kurt Angle chance. So.
Huh?
They did the "You're not Kurt Angle" chance.
And how can he be? No one expected him to be Kurt Angle.
Gold medalist going into the world of wrestling.
And that's just the crowd. The crowds were dicks towards him. That's honestly what it was. They were being a dick towards him.
Texas, right?
Huh? Gotta
love Texas, right?
No. I went to Texas last year.
For WrestleMania.
Shout out to them because they had a Jack in the Box. I will always brag about them because we don't have that in New York. They had a Jack in the. You don't have a Jack in the Box up there. Y'all have tacos though, right? Because I'm telling you guys, when I come up there, I want tacos. Like
we have plenty.
Good.
We have plenty. Don't worry. There's lots of places you can go to get a good taco.
No, because I just want to have I want to get 5 tacos, right? And I just want to throw one at the executive consultant, just right there in his face. Just I just want to take a bite and just throw it at him and then run. I don't know where I would run to, but I would run. Yes, and you can take a picture. I just want to throw one. I want to get one with extra hot sauce, and I just go, and I just throw it at him, and that'll be my commercial for new PR. That's all I got. I have no follow up, guys. But yeah, Baron Corbin gets the win. But honestly, the sting was what the story was because Thea, Andre threw the in the
The
towel for
towel.
her.
So she did the same thing, except the ref didn't see it.
Mhm.
She kind of reminded me of like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum because they didn't get what they want, so they decided to get revenge.
Didn't it feel weird to you to see Thea now? So Thea will
Are you
always.
kidding? I felt like when Noam Dar was comatose, that was weird. But with Thea Hale literally not acting like the Energizer Bunny,
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
what is happening
Wow.
here?
It broke my heart seeing her like that because she
Mine
wasn't doing.
too.
And Duke was trying to like console her, but seeing her
Yeah,
throwing the
he wanted to
towel.
go backstage to help her, but at the same time, he's like, I got to stay out here and make sure that Corbin doesn't kill Andre Chase completely.
Poor Andre Chase. I laugh because Andre seemed to get. He always, not to say he always gets his ass kicked, but he's always getting his ass kicked.
Well, by the bigger dudes. He picks fights with the bigger dudes.
Shout out to Andre Chase because I go for people not that tall. So shout out to him. But Andre Chase gets he takes the L
But I
and
also
is now
want to say shout out to the
sure.
NXT universe, probably mainly like the Chase U section. They were chanting at some point, "You're still our champion," for Thea.
Oh, oh, that's so adorable. That's beautiful. Let's get into this segment before we get into the main event. The main event was Tony Stark. Tony Stark. Oh my God.
Tony D.
Tony D. I'm sorry, because I got Stacks. I got Tony and Stack, and immediately my brain because I think Marvel. It just went Tony
You think
Stark.
Iron Man?
I miss him. Why couldn't Steve Rogers die? It had to be. Why had to be Tony? I will
I
always say
don't
that.
know. I didn't
Why
write.
was it? I know
I
you
just,
didn't, but if I wrote that, I would have had.
well,
I would have had Steve go, not Tony. Steve
but there's
can go.
a reason. He wanted to finish He wanted to finish being Iron Man in those movies. He'd been
What?
being that character for like 10
Oh,
years.
yeah,
When you
he
get
did it long
typecast
enough.
as that kind of character, you kind of want to expand and do other stuff.
I miss Tony. That's all I'm just saying. I miss Tony.
That's fair, but he wanted to do other stuff, so he didn't want to be typecast as Iron Man anymore. Which I'm a little surprised at that because he makes being in that kind of franchise for a while and being the face and people liking it, you make some good money.
I would be in Marvel forever. Like I don't know what I would do. I would just like I'll be the graffiti man in Marvel. I'll just spray graffiti. Like that would be my thing. But that's neither here nor there. But we have the main event. Tony Stacks, a mystery partner, but you guys already know because you guys watch NXT against Gallus. But let's talk about this segment right here. It was the diet, not diet. What do you call schism? They had a meeting. They're trying to figure
Figure
out who
out
is.
who was the one that pushed Gacy off of the
Yeah,
top rope like a few weeks ago, and
yeah,
they were unmasking everybody.
yep.
And then at one point they unmask a certain person, and
Mm-mm.
Jack's blood pressure went through the roof once he sees who popped up on his TV. Even the Schism were like, "What the hell is this? What are you doing here? This isn't a joke."
Why
And
was he here though? Why was
I
he there?
don't
So
know.
okay. So here we go. Let's go.
I'm
Let's
just
let's
waiting
go.
for the
Story time.
and getting thrown in the crowd again.
Story time with the bad guy. Right? The bad guy sits here, and I'm sitting there going, "Man, I gotta do this Unpopular Review NXT Review Show. I'm stoked about it. I'm taking notes. I'm making sure that I'm sober because I don't want to see him be out of my mind, right? Because you guys know I can just sit here and yell and all that stuff. So I'm watching this NXT show. I see the whole schism thing. I'm like, all right, cool. So they're taking off masks. And you see a bunch of people that you don't know, right? You don't know these people. But one of the individuals I saw the hair, I said, oh no. I immediately said, oh no. And then when they took off the vest and all that stuff, and I saw the jacket, I said, please. I said, please. And then when he took off the mask, he said, oh. And he took off and he showed the jacket. I said, come on, damn it. Come on, we were doing so well. We were doing fantastic here. The booking was good. And then I see Icky Man on my TV. And I knew for a fact that he went out of his way to personally attack me. I said, oh.
When I saw that, the first thing that came out of my mouth when I was watching it is Jack's blood pressure just went through the roof. And I know he's going to have a lot to say tonight. I felt like he wished that John Ackerman could have been like this.
I
That
did
you
not
can't
have.
see him.
I don't know who booked that. I don't know who thought they were funny. I didn't have enough wine in my refrigerator to deal with this nonsense, but it wasn't funny. I was irritated, and yes, I was very very upset. And you know what, Jacket Man, what's gonna happen is because I got to find a way to better myself, and I'm gonna find a way to make you in 2K23, and I'm gonna tag team you with Dom Toretto, and I will be getting my revenge. That's all. That's all. That's what we're gonna do here. That's what. Where's my list? I
That
can't even
part
find it.
wasn't funny. However, once they get to the last two, because they're convinced that it is the Creed brothers that did this, they unmask the guys. It turns out to be some random strangers, which they don't realize until after they start beating them up. And then who shows up on the screen but the Creed brothers? And they're basically saying, oh, it's funny. You guys thought it was us that was there. We're not here at NXT anymore, but we're having the time of our lives on vacation. We've been going everywhere. And you think that they did up until the point where they say they're at a beach and they can't even agree on which beach they're on, Hawaii or Fiji. And all they keep saying is, we're not in Orlando. We're nowhere near Orlando, which we all know is a giveaway for it. Yes, you are. And we're going to see you come up out of here at some point, attack Schism for taking you out of NXT and leaving Ivy and I all alone.
I thought this was actually hilarious, right? Like,
That part was hilarious. I
I love.
was like, oh no, it's going to be the Creed brothers. They're going to start attacking each other. But when they did that, I was like, that's amazing.
You know what I loved about this? What I love about this, because wrestling is fantastic, right? Like, I will be a wrestling fan for the rest of my life, right? So, oh, you guys thought that was us? These guys were on vacation. How the hell did they know this was all going on? It just, I don't know.
They probably were watching a little bit, probably keeping an eye on Ivy, seeing how she's doing. Because that's the
I do.
girl.
No, and I love what Jeffrey pointed out because it was green screen. Cause I caught a little bit of that. I stepped away from it because I went to go get some food. Cause just to
It
calm
was
down my
green.
blood.
We already knew that.
But I had to get some food to calm down my blood pressure. But I see this and I just laugh. I'm sitting there saying, "Oh, hey guys!" I think one of them had like the little white nose, like the little not powder, some kind of white thing. That's what they do when you're on the beach. One of them was shirtless, and it was just wild to me. I just thought it was hilarious. We went a whole hour and 27 minutes, so we're gonna end it with the main event. We had Gallus after attacking Stacks going against Tony Stacks and the returning Santos Escobar. Earlier in the night, Tony made a call saying, "Can you just do me a favor? Can you just stop by, help me out? This will be the last time, last thing or whatever." So I thought this was cool because it touches that storyline that they had last year. Tony and the family against Santos and Del Fantasma, and I thought that was cool to touch back to that storyline and even close it in a way. Solid. I'll say this. I thought it was a solid match. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was 5,000 to take it down. I just thought it was a pretty decent match. I think these guys did what they had to do. The baby faces go over, and like I said earlier, it touches back to the storyline between these two. And I thought that seeing Santos, he does like this, like how Tony does, just to show that he was a unit with Tony and Stacks, and they hug. I thought that was cool just to close on that storyline. Gallus take the L, and I don't know if then as Gallus and Tony and the family are done. Matter of fact, I kind of don't think they are done. But I just thought it was cool that Santos was a cool element to this tag match. Wrestling Dog, what was your thoughts about this match?
Well, first of all, when Tony D made the call, Santos Escobar was the last person I expected to be the one to answer that call.
Right.
But when I saw him come out, I was like, holy shit, it's Santos Escobar. Because I heard the music. I was like, oh my God. But it was a good match. Everybody was happy and flipping out because everybody and their mamas over at the NXT Performance Center loved Legado del Fantasma. Hell, even from time to time and watching episodes of NXT, I still see people coming in wearing those old shirts. Yeah. Even when Stacks was in the ring, everybody was chanting immediately, "We want Santos in the ring." They had some great spots. Santos is a talent. The NXT universe showed their love for him and why he is a talent and why he's someone who I do respect. And I do wish luck in his match for the United States Championship against the certain Mr. Austin Theory.
I don't.
But the match was good. They hugged it out, basically at squashing everything that ever happened between the LDF and the family.
Mm-hmm.
And the future for Gallus, I don't know what it holds. Maybe they'll go after them a couple more times, but I would like the family to feud with somebody else. Maybe Los Lotharios, because Los Lotharios are a real life family, so that could be an interesting twist to it. Like they call themselves the family, but we're actually family, so we're going to show you what real family is.
We got Jeffrey. I wanted to read his comment. He says Legado from Tasman versus the family was a really good rivalry. We got New Age Man who says yes. We got George who says the end is where Dragunov challenged Trick Williams next week. So yes, we're going to be having that match. And good luck to Trick. You was talking about good luck Santos, but good luck to Trick because Dragunov don't play. And Trick, when Trick wanted to go on his own, he picked the worst.
Dragunov don't play.
Dragunov's headbutt don't miss. I've seen him headbutt people and it just look gruesome. We got Jeffrey. He mentioned, I hope he beats Austin Theory. That's not happening. I don't see him being the one. He's not going to be the one to take it off him. Matter of fact, I honestly...
I would say LA Knights should be the one to take it off of Theory.
We got Los Lotharios versus Tony D and Stack for the NXT, but it looked like they're done as a team. I don't think they're a team.
Because I don't know
I hope not either.
Skills as far as his mic works, so...
Who? Which one?
Humberto.
Yeah, Humberto would need. Yeah, that's why I think they're better together. I've always loved the ECW documentary, right? And I remember some of Paul Heyman was saying what he would do with certain people if they had a certain weakness, he found a way to hide the weakness. You mentioned Humberto, right? Humberto's weakness is promos, but if he has his cousin there, who I think would be a fantastic singles wrestler, absolutely for sure. But one, also too, I just think one, you need more tag teams, and two, you help Humberto by having his cousin who is very charismatic and can talk on the mic. So yeah, I agree. I would keep them together just for that alone, and also too for me, I love tag teams, so I'm with it. We got Jeffrey who mentions, especially with Dragunov with the red contacts. Yeah, when he wants to, yeah, you don't want to mess with him when he had the red. We got George who says LA Knight takes the United States Championship. Oh, for sure, I'm pulling for LA Knight. Yeah, it's looking like LA Knight is going to be that guy. And you know that's pretty much that is the NXT show. I did want to play this all night. I want to play one clip. Can I play this one clip? Because I saw it in the.
Go ahead.
What? You have a feeling?
I have a feeling of which one it might be. Go ahead.
I bet you. Watch. I'm gonna surprise you right now because I just found this clip and I think it's hilarious.
What up, G?
Thought you were going to play, but that was a stupid clip. You're muted again.
I'm muted, ain't I? I don't know why my computer takes a long time because like I'll be right here and then I'm like, oh, I'm muted. I don't know why. I just saw that in the in there and I said,
I am man wearing a do-rag and saying "What up, G?" Cool. I cringe just saying that.
Vince McMahon with the do-rag. Let me tell you something real quick. The greatest ECW champion was Vince McMahon with the do-rag. You might look at me.
Whatever was being smoked the night we were watching the Great American Bash got in your house too from down here from Mike's house, because I cannot believe you just said that.
He was fantastic as these. Listen, watch that 2007 period. He dominated a lot of people.
I didn't want to watch Vince McMahon dominating people while wearing a do-rag trying to be black.
It was a wild time. Let me tell you. You talk about me smoking. I think Vince was at the time because there was a spot in he had this thing with John Cena and Shawn, and he tells Shawn, after you go after John Cena, maybe you can go. Then you can come for the big one. And he pointed to the ECW Championship. I said, I know this man is not serious. I'm sorry. Listen, guys.
Well, once upon a time, John Cena wasn't always so PG-13, so anything is possible. And again, once upon another time, there was a feud with Vince McMahon versus God.
Let me tell you something.
So anything is possible at that time because they can get away with almost everything.
It's a
That's
different time
right
now, but
now, it'd be cancel culture.
it's different now. It's a totally different world now. But
Yep.
yes, it was the wild west because I sit here and go, I'm surprised I got away with watching this stuff. Um, we got Jeffrey with the laughs. You're muted more. Stop it. Stop it, Jeffrey. It's just my computer lags. That's what it is. I know. I see the thing muted. That's why I'm waiting.
It's his computer.
Yeah. G. But listen, guys, that is Unpopular Review the NXT Review Show. We went a whole hour and 30 minutes. We shout out to you guys for just staying tuned with us. We have so many different shows. We do have some on entertainment. We don't have a graphic, but I will be joining my trio tomorrow. I think around 8:39. I'm not even sure. But we're supposed to be reviewing Adam. Was it Adam Eve? It's supposed to be from Invincible. It's a spin-off little thing, so we should be there around 8:30. But follow us on Twitter and all that. It's not even called Twitter anymore. X. I just call it X. Gonna give it to you because I don't know what we call this thing.
Calling it Twitter because calling it X is stupid.
It is very stupid. They just recently did, just before we went on the air. If you guys want to watch the replay, they did a review on. It did not come up, did it?
No.
Okay, there it is.
Here. It's the
Okay, no,
Day Part 1 review.
Yeah, I think they did.
If you are a fan of the movie series, if you're a fan of the books, and if you're a fan of the movies turned from the books, go ahead.
Also, too, that they haven't figured out the exact date for this, but they are going to be reviewing the American Nightmare, Becoming Cody Rhodes. This was honestly a fantastic documentary. I saw it yesterday, and I might check it out again. But this was very, very well done. Mike Knox and Z the Silence. They haven't figured out an exact date and stuff for it, but I hope that you guys would tune in and join in because this was really well done. Really, really well done. Thursday as well, around either 7:30 or 8 o'clock, there is going to be a review for SummerSlam predictions. And you should join in. If you have SummerSlam predictions, join us that Thursday. We also have, on Thursday as well, as you saw the commercial earlier in the night, we do an Impact Review Show. It's around 10 o'clock. We review Impact Wrestling, so join me and Dan the Man. The executive consultant will not be there because he has been terminated. He has left his glasses on the desk, and that's about it. So he will not be here Thursday, but also on Wednesday. If you guys like Dynamite, please join in. You could catch sometimes the executive consultant, but it's really hosted by Z the Silence. It's a fantastic time. You should check those gentlemen out. Sometimes Sheriff is there, but also too my co-host here. We always got to make sure we plug our stuff. Wrestling Doll, what do you got going on? Because you have a YouTube and it is growing.
I have my YouTube channel, The Unofficial Camera Woman, where I go to shows in Central Florida, film and record wrestling matches of indie wrestlers who some people may or may not have seen either on WWE, NXT, or AEW Dark. I have a show this Saturday that I will be heading to, so I'll be going and filming, and I'll be putting them up probably the same night or immediately the next morning. So be on the lookout for that. And also I have my Instagram and my Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, page for my valet persona. On Instagram, it is _Dark Dahlia, and for Twitter, it is Dahlia_Dark1.
We got I'm sorry, George said go to his comment. So who's going to interrupt Tiffany next week and challenge her for the NXT Women's Championship?
Probably Lyra or Roxanne. The most likely of the two choices. And there's one more segment that we didn't mention too much, but
sure.
Jade,
you want to talk about?
Cora Jade basically saying that she's done with NXT, that she is leaving. Good luck to everybody because y'all are going to need it, which is basically a way of saying that Cora Jade might possibly have been called up to the main roster.
Ooh, see, I missed that completely. But wow, that's a
sign up with. She did put up a post with like a black background with the piece, and some people do that cryptic kind of thing to say like I'm moving on up because they ain't gonna let her go. She's too good a talent to let go.
No, they wouldn't let her go. No. They would. You know, so real quick, and I'll end it with this, right? So this was my booking for everything, but seeing this might just change everything, right? So for me, I was sitting there saying, okay, we get Tiffany against Lyra Valkyria. Lyra wins the championship offer, and I said, I don't know if necessarily Cora needs the NXT Women's Championship, but I felt like I wanted to at least have that reign before she goes up, and I was even thinking you can have Lyra win. She has a little run with it. She don't need this long year run with it. But she wins
No.
the championship and drops to Cora. And I didn't have a time period for how long Cora has it and stuff like that. But I said, okay, we find a way to, because Cora can't win the championship with Tiffany as champion. I just don't. I mean, there's other ways if you have a fatal four way, blah blah blah. But in a singles match, you're not gonna have two heels against heels, right? So I sat and said Lyra wins, and then she could drop it to Cora. But now hearing this, it makes me go, then that just threw everything out the window, because if she's being called up, which is a shout out to her, I think she'll be fine on the main roster. But I sit here and ask you guys, because I saw this comment or this interesting question on Twitter, and they talked about Becky Lynch, right? And she never won the NXT Women's Championship, but do you feel like she needed to win that? So do you feel like Cora Jade, before she goes to the main roster, she needs to win the NXT Women's Championship? And that's for
I
you guys
feel
in the
like
chat as
it.
well.
Hey, Becky didn't
Mhm.
win it, and look where she is now.
There we go. I can concur with that. You don't necessarily need to win it to have a really great career. Um, but I
Is
asked
she a
that
Grand
question.
Slam champion now? Is
Huh?
Becky a Grand Slam champion now? She's won the Raw, SmackDown, and Tag Team belts.
Yep. Yep. She
Okay, now
has.
look at that. She's a Grand Slam champion now.
And also too, you got to include Royal Rumble winner, main event WrestleMania. So there you go. She had a very successful career if you really look at it. But I asked that question. Throw it out you guys' way. Bianca didn't either, and I'm glad that Jeffrey mentioned that because she did not win it. Matter of fact, I remember that match that she had with Shayna Baszler. I forget which one, because I know she had a few counters. There was that Fatal 4, but it was a singles match that she had with her. And I was rooting for her, but she didn't win. But Shayna was on a tear at that time, so I get it. Cora's going to the main roster is okay with me, and would be a good move for her. I hope that if they call her up, that if this is true that they call up, they have something for her, because
They
I
don't
think
turn
it's.
into somebody's lackey.
You said she's somebody's lackey.
That I hope they don't turn her into somebody's lackey.
It's rough because it's like, what do you do with her if you call her up there, right? Not a lot of people would know who she is, but if you have her, so like when they paired Trish Stratus with Zoe Starks, I thought that was a smart move.
I mean, I don't
But you don't
mind.
want to
I
keep.
don't want that to be the go-to for every
Yeah,
NXT club now.
yeah. No, I agree to that. I totally concur. But we'll have to wait and see how this all goes. But if she has left NXT, I mean, it was fun calling some of her matches and making fun of her for wearing Vans, because Vans are evil. But we
That
could
was
go
all
here for
you.
another. That was all me. That was all me. That was all me. Wrestling Dog just threw me right underneath the bus. As you can hear, my bones being crushed underneath the truck. That I'm pretty sure that
I
Bill
thought you were going to
Goldberg.
say like that scene from Austin Powers when that guy gets ran over by that steamroller.
Oh, remember that scene from Deadpool? I don't know if you ever saw the first Deadpool, and you see
Oh, no,
Deadpool
I did.
driving
I
like.
watched it when it came out.
You did. It's fantastic. I might one day I might cosplay as Deadpool. I feel like that would be my fitting if I was a Deadpool. I look at all these characters and I'm like, I should be Deadpool. That would be fantastic. But guys, that is NXT. We hope that you guys enjoyed this review show. We're going to end it. There's so much content here. There's links to wrestling. So you want to watch the old episodes that we have done, check them out. If you want to see episodes that we done with entertainment, there's a link towards the entertainment page on the YouTube, and there is a link to my co-host's YouTube. There's a link to the Big Pop Theory podcast. We didn't do one last
And
week,
my
but
channel
maybe
has a playlist of every episode of UPR, whether I've done it like this or where I've commented because I was not able to be on the show. I put them all in.
you put them all in. We said, Jeffrey says, I hate Vans too. Keep her heel, George. He said, if you bring
Because he
Cora,
asked if you bring Cora Jade to the main roster, do you bring up as a heel or a face?
keep
Heel,
her,
so that's
keep
where
us a,
she
keep us
doesn't
a.
work.
Flat out keep her as a heel. We'll just keep her as a heel. I think it's a smart move to keep her as a heel.
And then turn
But
more random people face because apparently they don't have enough faces to balance it out.
I would keep I gotta look at that women's roster. That'd be fun to look at for next week. Maybe we could figure out like babyface and heels, and like figure that out. That seemed like a fun episode for next week. But guys, it's 11:54 here in out here in New York. I'm pretty sure out there in Florida where you are, and down there. We went a whole hour. We hope we entertained you guys. We'll be back here next Tuesday for more NXT review. Wrestling Dolls, say bye to the lovely people. Bye, peeps. NXT Review Show, and we'll catch you guys next Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry, Tuesday. That was a tongue tie. Tuesday!